Another video for you with new stories from Ethiopia and Eritrea. Firstly, Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki was seen receiving credentials of several resident and non-resident ambassadors to Eritrea. Secondly, a comedian, US comedian with Eritrean descent has produced a documentary on Eritrea. The comedian traveled to Eritrea in December last year. She seems to be trying to prop up Isaias Afwerki's government. Tiffany Haddish is the name of the comedian. Second news story is about two statements. One from Ethiopian Orthodox Church Patriarch Abune Mathias spoke today. He condemned civilian killings. And secondly, we have a statement from UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. Mekelle also spoke about Wellega massacre. What did the two say? Thirdly, we have a new story about an interview of an OLF leader. His name is Bati Urgessa, spokesperson of Oromo Liberation Front, remained in prison for some time. Then he was released a few weeks ago. He appeared in an interview a few hours ago, and he talked about ideological differences between Jawar Party, OFC, and Oromo Liberation Front. And he talked about mistakes made by Jawar in the past as well. He's very close to Jawar. A few days ago, he defended Jawar when Jawar was being accused of being in alliance with PM Abiy. Lastly, Tigray viewers, today Ethiopian Communication Ministry released a statement. It said that TPLF was banning flights, humanitarian flights on Mekelle airport, that TPLF had closed down Mekelle airport. Now Tigray has released a statement. Why was this airport closed? How convincing is this statement? We'll try to analyze the statement issued by Tigray government. Firstly, viewers, first news story is from Eritrea. Two news stories. Eritrean ruler Isaias Afwerki was seen today receiving credentials of ambassador, resident and non-resident ambassadors to Eritrea. He received credentials of Russian ambassador to Eritrea, Turkish and South Sudan's ambassadors to Eritrea. Turkish, Russian and South Sudan's ambassadors are resident ambassadors. It means that ambassadors reside in Eritrea, and these three countries have their embassies in Eritrea too. And he received credentials of some non-resident ambassadors as well, who don't reside in Eritrea, but they are still ambassadors to Eritrea. Non-resident ambassadors from Oman, Thailand, Mauritania, Nigeria, the Philippines, Namibia and Japan also met with Isaias Afwerki, who received the credentials. Regional issues, bilateral issues, cooperation in agricultural sector, tourism sector came under a discussion. Second news story about Eritrea is very important, viewers. We know that last year in December, a US comedian, Tiffany Haddish, traveled to Eritrea. I think one of her family members is from Eritrean descent. She was very warmly welcomed back then by Isaias Afwerki, Eritrean president. We saw her pictures with the president. And now she seems to be trying to prop up Eritrean government. She's trying to share a soft image of Eritrean ruler, Eritrean government, and Eritrea. She has produced documentary, a 20-minute-long documentary about Eritrea. Name of this documentary is Eritrea, the Hidden Gem. And the documentary recalls her visit to Eritrea. And this documentary is all praise for Eritrean government, Eritrean ruler Isaias Afwerki. The documentary claims that Eritrea is the most resilient nation in Africa. It has social, religious and cultural harmony. Its leadership is principled, Isaias Afwerki, and its leadership has been standing for peace. It believes in peaceful coexistence with its neighbors, and its leadership stood against intervention from Western countries, from the US. And the documentary shares several tourist spots and several places showing history of Eritrea. Now, it seems that Tiffany Haddish is trying to portray a very soft image of Isaias Afwerki and his government. No word on human rights situation in Eritrea. No word on freedom of expression, freedom of press, freedom to speak in Eritrea. No word on political prisoners in Eritrea. No word on that there is just one television station, one radio, one newspaper in Eritrea. Tiffany Haddish just shared one-sided picture of this country. I think she should have done better. She traveled to Eritrea. Yes, if she is in love with this country, yes, she should try to share good side of the country, but the picture should be covering both sides. The documentary is all praise for Eritrea, for Isaias Afwerki. No word on what is being reported by others. No election in Eritrea in the last, no general election in Eritrea in the last 30 years. No democratic reforms in Eritrea. So there is a lot to speak. Artists should not be biased. They should be impartial. Artists have the courage, the guts to speak the truth. Because they are trained to speak freely. That is how they express themselves and their talent is unraveled. So if Tiffany Haddish is allowed to speak freely in the US, I think she should call for such freedom in Eritrea as well. Next story is from Wellega viewers. Hundreds of innocent civilians killed there. Blame game ongoing. OLA government blaming each other. Two statements today were released. First statement from Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Abune Mathias, Orthodox Church Patriarch, today spoke, released a statement. The statement is about civilian killings in both places, Wellega and Gambela. That is what I liked about this statement, because we have seen that PM Abiy spoke about civilian killings in Amhara and BG. No mention of Gambela. Amhara region based groups, individuals are mostly condemning atrocities against civilians in Wellega. No word on what happened in Gambela. Oromia region-based groups, activists are condemning what happened in Gambela, but they're trying to defend, they are trying to say that OLA is not behind the attack in Wellega, in Oromia. But church is speaking, church is condemning the killings which happened both in Gambela and in Wellega. The church says that what is happening is heartbreaking. All Ethiopians should condemn these civilian killings, and that religious leaders, the government, should try their best to promote peace. No word on perpetrators, that they should be brought to justice. I think that is how church perhaps speaks. I don't know about its past statements, but in this statement there is no mention of any perpetrators. Should there be justice? What should the government do to hold those accountable who are involved in these attacks? No mention of any such call for accountability. UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet, also spoke today. She said in a statement that hundreds have been killed in Wellega, several thousand displaced, and some abducted too, some houses set on fire. Ethiopian government must ensure prompt, impartial investigation and thorough investigation into the civilian killing which happened in Wellega. She did not make an offer to be part of the investigations. OLA is calling for some independent international mechanism to investigate the killings in Wellega. OLA has shown its mistrust of Human Rights Commission of Ethiopia. OLA says that immediately after Wellega incident, Human Rights Commission of Ethiopia started blaming OLA. So any report prepared by Human Rights Commission of Ethiopia, Human Rights Council of Ethiopia, or some Ethiopian government-backed body will not be welcomed by OLA. I think some international human rights bodies should offer to investigate this incident. The offer will be accepted by the government or not. That's another question. At least international human rights bodies should make an offer that they are ready to investigate this incident if Ethiopian government allows them to travel to Wellega. Important question is, who will conduct investigation into Wellega massacre? Human Rights Commission of Ethiopia, Daniel Mekelle, is already working. Will some other bodies be involved too? Thirdly, viewers, Jal Bati Urgessa, an OLF leader or a spokesperson, Oromia Vision Fund spokesperson, gave an interview a few hours ago. He has been in prison for some time. He was released a few days ago. And then we saw his posts defending Jawar when Jawar was being accused of being in secret alliance with PM Abiy's government. What is Jal Bati Urgessa saying? OLF, Oromia Vision Fund, party of Dawood Ibsa, and Oromo Federalist Congress party led by Murira Gudina and Jawar, Mekelle party. They have been in alliance in recent months. Last year, the two jointly boycotted the general election when Jawar was in prison, Mekelle as well, Dawood Ibsa under house arrest. Then the two jointly boycotted national dialogue. But in recent days, we have seen some disagreements. Dawood Ibsa protested against the use of OLF's flag at Java's programs held in Europe. Dawood Ibsa asked Mira Gudina to stop Java from using OLF flag, but we saw that in almost all programs held in Europe and America, OLF flag was used. So it seems there is some little friction between OFC and OLF these days. What did Bati Urgessa say? Bati said, there are ideological differences between OLF and OFC. OFC is in support of a multinational federalist system, multinational federalism in Ethiopia, democratic multinational federalism in Ethiopia. The Oromia should be part of Ethiopia. But OLF, Dawood Ibsa party, is in support of an independent republic of Oromia. OLF wants to exercise, it wants the people of Oromia to exercise Article 39 of Constitution, which allows regions to hold referendum for self-determination. So here there is basic difference between OLF and OFC about the mode of struggle. Secondly, he said that Jawar made a mistake in 2018 when he demobilized people. Prosperity Party hijacked Oromo struggle. Prosperity Party came to power, and back then Jawar demobilized people and the movement lost its momentum. That was a crucial point, Bati Urgessa says. And after that, people could not be mobilized. Even when Jawar Mekelle went on hunger strike in prison, in Kaliti prison last year, no one took to the streets in Oromia. Why? Because the movement had been demobilized. It had lost its momentum. So he seems to be saying that the Oromo struggle has lost its momentum because of Jawar's decision to demobilize the movement. And there is need of fresh stimulus to relaunch this movement. He claimed that Jawar acknowledges the mistake, that it was a mistake to demobilize the people back then, but it happened. Lastly, viewers, Tigray today released a statement about Ethiopian government's claim. Ethiopian government earlier in the day accused TPLF that it had banned humanitarian flights landing at Mekelle's airport, and the government said that TPLF was planning another round of armed confrontation, a new military offensive. That is why airport was banned all operations at the airport. TPLF banned operations. We were waiting for Tigray government statement. Now Tigray has officially released a statement. Tigray says, yes, operations at the airport have ceased. Airport is not in working condition now. Why? It's because of fuel shortage. Tigray government says that Tigray does not have fuel to run the airport. I think Tigray is referring to the fuel needed to run the airport building, control tower, etc. Not the fuel required for aid flights. Aid flights have the fuel, it seems, for the return as well. But airport building, airport premises, airport facilities need fuel as well. And that fuel is missing, shortage of fuel. Tigray says that earlier it conveyed to humanitarian partners that soon airport would run out of all fuel and operations will have to be stopped. So it's not something which has happened out of the blue. It communicated the shortage of fuel to aid partners, and now it's trying to resume the operations. So fuel shortage is a serious problem, but Ethiopian government says that fuel shortage in Tigray is a myth. There is no fuel shortage. Tigray is storing fuel, it is planning another military offensive, and that is why whatever fuel is being sent to Tigray, it's being stored by Tigray government. Today, Blaine Siom, Ethiopian PM office spokesperson, talked to Voice of America, and she claimed that since April this year, around 900,000 liters of fuel have been sent to Tigray, but Tigray still says there is a shortage of fuel. Tigray, on the other hand, says that thousands of metric ton food is lying undistributed in Mekelle because of lack of fuel. Aid agencies also back Tigray's position. They say that yes, there is shortage of fuel, that is why aid is lying pending distribution in Mekelle's warehouses. Mekelle airport could restart, it could resume its operations in coming days. Who will provide this fuel to Tigray government? I think aid agencies will give the fuel to Tigray government for the running of airport facilities. It could happen in coming hours. Thank you for watching.